Right. Keith, on you.
Hi Brendan, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see so many smiles with yourself, with Michael and Peter. But towards the end of your time last time, you spoke about how you had frustrations about pushing the club forward.
Yeah.
And your interviews since joining again, you spoke about looking forward to working with Mark Lawwell and the recruitment team. What about the club's operations has changed since the last time?
Well, I think that was things that we'd spoken about when I was here first time, when I went away, and obviously when the club had asked me to consider coming back. I needed to see the infrastructure. And I have to say, when Michael and Chris came out and took me through where the club is at and what they've done over the last few years, from a manager's perspective, I was really impressed by that. You know, I think that maybe before when I was here, it was maybe a little confused in terms of recruitment in relation to bringing in players at that level, but maybe others from this level. Whereas now, it's for me, and for managers, what you want, you need the clarity, but very clear. And when I see the evidence of that, and went through with Mark, spoke to him on the phone to get his feeling on it, and then I sat with him and seen the structure of that. It's first class from a manager's perspective. Thank you very much.
Brendan, you've mentioned your ambitions to make some progress in Europe, which is something the fans have been crying out for, as the club haven't won the European knockout tie since 2004. What would you define as progress in Europe? Would it be getting over that hurdle of winning a European knockout tie?
It's certainly a start. I think I think obviously the draw of getting into the Champions League and what it does for the club financially is great, but I'm here to win, and I want to win, and that's why I've come back, to win and to see what we can do in Europe. You know, Europe's a huge part of the history of this club. I also understand the challenges, having worked in the Premier League and knowing the budgets that's down there, and of those clubs that can then go in, which far supersede what we can pay. But we want to be competitive, and I think that's what's important for us. And you know, some will define the success differently, but certainly winning the knockout stages would certainly help, would be a start. So, thank you.
Brendan, one of the older supporters here, 50 years watching Celtic, that invincible season, in your first season here, was the most enjoyable of them all. What memories do you have of that? What highlights from it, and can you promise us something similar again next season?
Listen, I promise to do my best. That was such an emotional season, apart from the Gibraltar game. when we came in, and but now that just felt like a magic carpet ride. Everything was, you know, what we did that season in terms of, you know, winning 34 games and drawing 4. It was just remarkable, and the level that the players were at mentally, and how we kept the standard right the way through to the end. We didn't take a foot off the gas right the way through, and then to finish up at Hampden, and you know, it was really, really special. That was incredible, and that's always going to be hard in the next season. But my message, which will be to the guys this summer, because I did it before here, we've won a treble, then won a treble again. You can't soften up. It's so important to stay aggressive in your games. So the guys are off the back of a fantastic season, and then if you remember the last time it was going to be always hard to replicate that, the level of football, the joy, everything, having won the treble. But we went back the next season. Maybe didn't quite play the level of football that was going to be near enough impossible to achieve, but we got under the treble, and then it felt like it was the norm then. So yeah, so that season was really, really special, always will be, and like I say, my look now is forward, and to all of that's in concrete. That never changes what we did back then, and that's a great nostalgia, you know, moment of nostalgia. But for me now is to this next stage to be even more successful if we can.
Brendan, first congratulations on your return, and
Thank you.
it's good to see you here again. There's a lot of talk, obviously, from yourself about how much the club has changed since you've been away. How much have you changed as a manager since you've been away, and what differences will we see in your approach?
I've been away about 4 years and 7 years since I first came here. So in that time, you're always evolving. You know, I think till the day I die, I'll always be learning. I think for me, coming back to here, knowing the landscape, now it was new to me when I first came in, but now knowing what, you know, that definitely helps. Knowing the expectations of supporters, I've always known that. But I think over the 4 years, you continually evolve. But what doesn't change is that you have to win here, and stylistically you have to win in a certain way. That's the simplicity of it. You know, as a Celtic supporter, you want to see your team win, and you want to see them win in style. And that's my job, to deliver that. And then, like I said, when we go into Europe, be as competitive as we can. So, for me, the Premier League down south, it's like a European league. You're playing against lots of different cultures, different styles, different level of quality of players. So I bring back that experience, and you know, and the time in the Premier League, the last period, we you know, Leicester created history there by winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield and going in Europe and the finishes. So so all these experiences help, and but I'm back to here to look forward and continually improve. Thank you.
Hi Brendan, great to see you back.
Thank you.
At Leicester, then Liverpool and Celtic, you had different challenges. You came into clubs who weren't exactly top of the tree at the time, and
Yeah.
you did a job there. How do you find it now coming back to Celtic on the back of like 5 trophies?
Yeah.
Is that a different approach?
No, so it's an approach that I'm really happy with. It reminds me a little bit of when I went into Swansea. They had just missed out on the playoffs, but the team was synchronised and they understood how they were working and how they played. And it was for me to come. I think they just missed out a few years running. They finished 7th, I think it was, when I came in after Paulo Sousa. But the team was understanding of the work, and then it was for me to come in and add my bit to it to try and elevate the team. And I see, and that's been the only time really, as you say, I've went into other clubs, and they've always been in a different moment, and I would be able to pick them up. Here, there's great joy in coming in. The team's on the back of trouble. You know, there's a young squad there that are talented, that have more development to make and more improvements to make. And so the start point is different, and that's something that I look forward to coming in and then shaping it to continue with that improvement that's been made. Thank you.
Welcome back, Brendan.
Thank you very much.
You obviously know a few players from the last time, such as James A, Scott Bain and Callum McGregor, but the vast majority of the players will be new to you. Have you had a chance to take many games in over the last couple of seasons, and which players are you really looking to work with and develop?
I've virtually watched every Celtic game since I left. So wherever I've been in the world, I've always tried to see it. So I'm well in tune with the players, like you say, and that's also, it's a nice thing as a manager, you're coming in, because I couldn't have come into the same group. I thought it just doesn't work, otherwise it's too stale. You know, so coming into the fresh group of players will be absolutely great. Plus the guys, like you say, Callum, who's a top player, and I've seen grow my time here, and he's continued to grow. So having him as captain really important for us, which is great. And like you say, James at a different stage of his career now, but an important player for the squad. And if he can stay fit, he's clearly got a part to play. And Scott Bain is a very loyal number 2, number 3 goalkeeper who's there to support the others. But all the other guys, I've had a good look at them in lots of games. I've studied them once I knew I was coming in. I had a real close look at them, and yeah, so it's so they're not new to me.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Hi Brendan, welcome back.
Thank you.
Just regards to football analytics, what's your own approach to analysis in football, and is the club doing any work behind the scenes to provide you the tools to help in that regard?
Yeah, I think that's something that's continually developed in football. But I always see it as exactly that. You know, analysis is a tool. What I also understand is that what sometimes analysis doesn't give you, it doesn't tell you whether someone has a heart or whether they have technique. And these are things that you need in football. You know, because you can be technically really good, but if you don't have the heart for football, then you're not going to, especially a couple of guys here. But the analysis part of it is very important now. You get lots of data, lots of information, and but I'm guided by it, but not driven by it.
Hi Brendan, as you've said you've watched quite a lot of Celtic in the last few years. We had, without winning the game, we got a lot of plaudits in the Champions League this season gone. I just wondered if you felt that the squad's capable of making an impact next season there, and if there's any sort of areas that you've possibly identified that we could improve on.
Yeah, listen, the challenges were hard, weren't they? In terms of playing Real Madrid, and obviously the game here was terrific for that half hour, and the support, everything behind it, and that's what gives the team a chance. Clearly their quality comes through, and then they end up home and away being comfortable in the game. But Celtic having, I think the big thing is to have that mentality to go and play with no fear. You know, that's important. You know, you might lose a game, but you want to play without that fear. And yeah, there are areas where every squad can improve, and especially I've always felt that when you're winning, it's the best time to improve the team, because guys that are doing well, when you drop in one or two other players of real quality, it makes them sit up and think, right, okay, I've got to go again. So that's what we'll aim to do, and like I say, look to get into there and be competitive.
Hi Brendan, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Will you be attempting to alter the style of play this season at all from what we played under Postecoglou, and will this be pivotal in European progression?
Listen, I think that as a Celtic manager, it's not a choice. You have an obligation to play an attacking style of football. That's what I wanted to do when I first came in here. It's why I got the job initially. It's why I've got my other jobs, because of stylistically how we play. Ange come in and done a fantastic job in terms of rebuilding the squad, and again brought that style that Celtic supporters want to see. So for me, it won't be too dissimilar. You know, there might be maybe little tactical tweaks, but the game is pretty much the same. Celtic supporters want to see a high tempo game, fast football, progressing the ball forward, creating goals, scoring opportunities, and defending together. And with the supporters, then that makes us a real force. So I think there'll be little subtle changes over time, but as I don't like the first time when I came in, it was a total rebuild of, for me, the structure of the team and how we played. You know, by getting like 4 players on the inside. Ange has done that by bringing an inverted full-back in. I'd done that in my spell at Liverpool, where I had Emre Can coming in, who was a midfield player, playing a right back coming in. So it's the team's in a really good place, and it's just a little fine tuning for me over the next few years, and bringing a different type of quality hopefully as well.
Hi, welcome back Brendan.
Thank you.
One of the main concerns all the fans have had since the last manager left is that the last series of transfer business we've done has been really good. You know, we've got a really good squad, and one of the main fears was now that Ange's left, maybe there would be a wee bit of reverting back to type or going back to previous transfer models, like you said before, would be a bit confused or whatever. In line with what Michael Nicholson and the club have presented to you to bring you back to the club, it must have been something pretty monumental, pretty convincing to be so night and day, because we know the business from before. There was, let's say, substandard players brought to the club, and if we're going to dream and we're going to go on and we're going to push, then we can't have business like that again. So for me, as I like to think I'm quite an interested fan in the club and everything that's going on, I don't really understand where a lot of the business and a lot of the ideas come from. So what can you tell fans like myself, to reassure us that the transfer business this summer will stay on the same kind of level it's been at over the last 2 seasons?
Well, I can tell you now, it definitely will. I think what there is now is real clarity. That's the biggest thing, around it. for me, I know that, okay, I may not be able to buy a £20 million player, you know, and, but we can get really good players. And I think, as I said, there's a structure in place now that brings us into markets that were untapped before. Obviously, Mark, I'm still working there, but Mark in his previous role, he did it with Manchester City, had overseen all those markets. So he has a great knowledge of them, and that's something that will continue. And again, it was that process, one of the processes that made me come back, you know, because as a coach and manager, you want to work with good players. You're only as good as your players, and for me, it's not. Sometimes the job is to keep players out, never mind bring them in, and I think that how the club has worked, you know, it's been very good. So we just want to continue along that line, and that's just about clarity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Ben, glad to see you back. Last time you were here, you were incredibly fortunate to have a great captain and a great leader in Scott Brown. This time around, obviously, you're working with Callum McGregor. Back then, in your first spell, did you foresee him becoming the leader he has, and how easier does it make your job having someone like him around?
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. He's one that he's steeped in the club now. He knows the history, knows the expectation. I think when I came here first, I tried to develop his personality because he's a very humble guy, and when I seen him in training, he was too safe, and so we developed that personality, and he gained confidence from the training and the work, and then he produced on the pitch. And by the time I left, he was an amazing player for us, and he clearly had learned from Brownie, but he has his own mind, he has his own mentality, and he's continued to grow and develop, and now I arrived back here, and I'm so happy that he's here. And I met him in Mallorca. He was one of I met with the board and the staff, but I wanted to get it from a player's perspective, and my relationship with him was strong when I was here last. So him and I had a lunch and spoke over the squad. He really was enthused about the squad that was here and what I can maybe do to help him from working the last time together. And yeah, he spoke with that passion and that drive that I wanted to see, and it was that was a really important meeting for us.
Brendan, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I know you haven't had the chance to work with the guys yet, but from your impressions of watching games and your discussions with Callum, how do you compare the makeup of this current squad to the one you inherited in 2016?
Different. I think back then there was players that were individually good that maybe weren't performing to the level that they could do. It was come in and bring them together as a team, because that's always how my teams will play. There should never be a star in the team. It has to be the team together, and so that was the case of structuring that and bringing it together and seeing that grow and develop. I think arriving in here, like I said earlier, the start point's different. They're synchronised well. They're technically very strong. We would like some more power in the team, but technically very good. Tactically play the game to a really good level, and can we add that flexibility to the tactical idea in the team as well? So the start point is different, and it's a great team to come into.
Brendan, there's been a lot spoken about transfers about your last time here, and you brought some fantastic players to the club, you know, like Scott Sinclair and Nodson Edward, some brilliant talents. But another thing I think is key from your time around first time was the improvement you made in a lot of the Celtic players, you know, the Ryan Christies, the Stuart Armstrongs, the Scott Brown. He got a whole new lease of life. I was just wondering if you could talk a bit about, as a manager, what you do and how you bring that out in players that maybe the fans don't think have got it, or even the players themselves maybe are a bit unsure of their own ability. How do you do that?
It's firstly sitting with the player and understanding their ambition, what it is they want to achieve and what it is they want to do, and then coming up with a plan for the individual. Because listen, in any line of work, or whether it's football or business, you want to know that someone cares for you, and if someone cares for you, you then tend to, you know, grow and develop from that. So it's in my nature to care for players. I want to I want to help them be the best that they can be, and because their careers are short. So that individual meet, I check their level of commitment. I give, we work together on a plan to make them the best they can, and then what I ensure to them is the responsibility is theirs. I will help them develop to be the best player they be. I've done that throughout my career, taking young players and giving them a platform. And when they show me they care, I give them everything. When they show me they don't care, I couldn't care less. So last time I was here, luckily I had players that wanted to be better, wanted to improve, and that hunger was there. And you see them, they improved, they developed, and done really well. Did the exact same here. So getting to know the player, what makes them tick, getting them onto the grass, helping their confidence, working with them technically, broadening their view tactically for the game, and making them feel that they can go into any stadium and show the personality to play in a Celtic jersey. And that's what I've done in my time here before, and I'll continue to do.
Thank you.
Pleasure.